Welcome to the Explainer. It's pretty wild when you stop and think about it. Plants. They just stand there. But have you ever wondered how they actually work? Inside every single leaf, there's this incredible world-changing chemical reaction happening constantly. And that's what we're diving into today. I mean, seriously, think about it. How does a massive tree build itself seemingly out of nothing but sunlight and thin air? A tiny little seed turns into this gigantic thing, but it doesn't eat anything. So where does all that stuff come from? It really does feel like magic, doesn't it? But it's pure science. And today, we're going to break it all down.
All right, here's the game plan for this explainer. We're going to look at a plant's secret superpower, then get into the recipe for how it makes its food and, of course, how it uses that energy. We'll also check out its day and night cycle and wrap up with why this all really, really matters to you and me. Let's get into it.
Okay, first up, a plant's superpower. And seriously, forget about flying or being invisible. This is a real superpower, turning pure sunlight into life itself. It's happening all around us, all the time. Yeah, at their core, plants are these incredible little chemical factories that make their own food. Think about it. We have to go out and find our food, right? But plants? Nope. They're master chemists, cooking up their own fuel from the absolute basics. They're totally self-sufficient, powered by the sun. So how in the world do they pull this off? Well, let's check out the recipe for making this food from light. The process has a name you've probably heard before: photosynthesis. And the name itself is a dead giveaway, right? Photo, that's light. Synthesis, that's to make. So literally, making with light. So here's the textbook definition. Basically, photosynthesis is just a chemical process where green plants use the sun's energy to whip up their own food, and that food is a type of sugar called glucose. It's all about taking light energy and bottling it up as chemical energy. That glucose is the fuel that powers everything the plant does. And you know what's crazy? The recipe is actually pretty simple. You just need 4 ingredients. First up, you need carbon dioxide from the air. Yeah, the same stuff we breathe out. Second, you need water, which the plant just sucks up from the soil through its roots. Third, of course, is the energy source, sunlight. And the fourth, the secret ingredient, is chlorophyll. That's the green stuff in the leaves that's designed to soak up all that sunlight. Now, this whole cooking process doesn't just happen randomly. It all goes down inside these tiny little structures in the leaves called chloroplasts. You can think of them like microscopic kitchens packed inside every cell. And these are the little factories that are filled with that chlorophyll. That's actually why plants are green, by the way. Okay, so you take your ingredients, carbon dioxide and water, you add a little sunlight, and what do you get? Well, 2 incredibly important things. First, you get glucose. That's the plant's food, its energy. And second, you get oxygen, which for the plant is just a waste product it releases into the air. Pretty important waste product for us, though. But wait a second. How do we know for sure that it's oxygen coming out? Well, there's this really cool classic experiment you can do. You take an aquatic plant, something like kabamba, and when it's in the light, you can literally see little bubbles of gas floating up from the leaves. So what you do is, you trap that gas in a test tube, and then you take a wooden splint that's glowing, just an ember, and you stick it in the gas, and poof, it bursts back into flame. It's such a great little demonstration. Wicked is right. That little reaction is the classic test for oxygen, and it's just this awesome physical proof that this invisible process is really happening. All right, so the plant has made all this food, this glucose. It's stocked its pantry. But what's the point of having a full pantry if you can't actually eat the food, right? The plant needs a way to unlock all that energy it just stored. And that brings us to the next part of the story. And that process is called respiration. It's basically the plant's version of eating. It takes that glucose it just worked so hard to make, breaks it down, and releases all that stored up energy. And it uses that energy for, well, everything. Growing new leaves, repairing itself, just staying alive. Okay, now this is where it gets really beautiful. This is the part that just shows you how elegant nature is. Just look at these 2 processes side by side. Photosynthesis. It takes in carbon dioxide and water to make glucose and oxygen. Now look at respiration. It takes in glucose and oxygen to make carbon dioxide and water. Do you see it? They're perfect mirror images of each other.
It's just, wow. The stuff you need for one process is the exact stuff that comes out of the other. It's nature's ultimate recycling system. The plant literally makes its own food and the oxygen it needs to burn that food. It's this perfect closed loop, so efficient.
Okay, so this raises a pretty obvious question, right? When is all this work happening? Is the plant doing this stuff 24/7? Well, the clue, of course, is in that one key ingredient for photosynthesis, light. So let's think about it this way. Do plants breathe, respire all the time, day and night, just like we do? Or does everything just kind of power down when the sun goes away? This table lays it all out really clearly. So during the day, when there's light, yeah, both things are happening. The plant is making food and it's using food. But, and this is the key part, photosynthesis is happening way faster than respiration. So overall, the plant is taking in CO2 and kicking out a ton of extra oxygen. But then at night, no light, no photosynthesis. That process just stops. But the plant's still alive, right? So it has to keep respiring 24/7. Now, fun fact, those little pores on the leaves that let gases in and out, they usually close up at night so the plant doesn't lose too much water. Okay, so we've been looking at this tiny microscopic process inside a leaf. But so what? Why does any of this matter? Well, let's zoom way out, because it turns out this little chemical reaction affects literally everything, from your lungs to your lunch. Seriously, this silent chemical journey that's happening inside every single green leaf on this planet has two massive, and I mean massive, consequences for all life on Earth.
Number 1, oxygen. Plain and simple. The air we're breathing right now, the oxygen that keeps us and almost every other animal alive, it's basically a waste product for plants. That's it. Every single breath you take is, in a way, a gift from a plant.
And number 2, food. Plants are the only things that can take the sun's energy and turn it into something you can eat. That's the whole ballgame. An animal eats a plant, another animal eats that animal, but all of it starts with the plant capturing a sunbeam. It is the absolute foundation of pretty much every food chain on the entire planet. So there you have it. It's all connected. Every breath you take, every meal you eat, it all goes back to this one amazing process. This entire system is this perfect, delicate, life-giving balance, which leaves us with a really important final question to think about. What happens if we're the ones to disrupt that perfect balance?